Well, close losses, missed chances, and frustration building. Jeff Lebby breaks down what's holding Mississippi State back from finally getting over the hump.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. My name is Jaron Spoor. I'm a national college football writer at Athlon Sports. That's Landon McBride. We've got a packed Tuesday show for you today. Blake Shapen made some comments on Instagram after his job has been in question, not just by us, but by several people out there. We'll also do our weekend recap that we do. One of us, I believe, got their upset right, and the other one didn't have great success. Did my streak continue? We'll talk about that a little later. But first, let's get into Jeff Lebby's press conference. He's obviously previewing the upcoming game against the Texas Longhorns. He talked about a lot of stuff. Ultimately, they were asking him about some of the close losses they've had so far this year. They had the overtime loss to Tennessee, and then obviously this 2-point loss to Florida. He said there's so many plays inside the game that creates a different outcome. I talked about it a little bit in the post game. One of the biggest frustrations that I had after the game was we didn't take control of the game in the first 3 drives. The 0 to negative plays when we had the opportunities to score on 1st and 10 and plus territory. We hand the ball off and gain 2 yards when it's blocked to score a touchdown. That's a good point. He talks about a lot of different stuff, but ultimately, one of the plays that he I didn't reference really is Blake Shapen missing a wide open touchdown.
You mean missing like 3 wide open touchdowns?
Well, I'm talking about on those first 3 drives that he's referring to.
Right.
That's break it open.
Yeah, I think some of that he's trying to protect his quarterback. He knows there's a lot of heat he's already facing. He doesn't need to pile on any more than's happening. But one of the things that jumped out to me reading, watching his press conference, he used the word frustration or frustrated so many times.
Yeah.
It was 4 or 5 times over the course of this press conference that he talked about how he's frustrated with the offense. Blake is frustrated with himself. He's frustrated with how these games are turning out. It's, we've seen the progress, but I do think that to an extent, all the SEC losses are starting to wear on him a little bit. And I think it's starting to come to what do we have to do to get over the hump?
Yeah, and I think he's starting to hear the chatter outside, especially like Shapen, especially. And even there's been some chatter about Lebby, which we can get into later this week. But yeah, I think Shapen is starting to hear it a little more. And you're starting to see the frustrations, which, again, we'll talk about that in this second segment because he made a post kind of highlighting those frustrations. But, yeah, I mean, it was just some of the stuff Lebby said is why – we talked earlier in the year, he is a big coach speak kind of person. Mm-hmm. And when things are going well and you're winning, like, yeah, it's fine. It is what it is.
Coach speak works, yeah.
Yeah, but when you're losing, like, fans want to know, like, what is happening here? Don't give us this little coach speak, oh, we had all these opportunities. And first off, you don't even bring up the biggest opportunity, which is the wide open touchdown pass that your quarterback misses in those first 3 drives. That kind of stuff frustrates me. Like, I want more than oh, we missed opportunities. Yeah, we know. We watched the game. You don't need to retell us that we missed opportunities. We saw it.
Yeah, and if you want to just say we missed opportunities, fine. But tell us how you're not going to miss the next one. Because, right. Everyone makes mistakes. We get it. But how are you not going to make that same mistake going forward? And in his own coach speak way, he touched on that a little bit with he was asked about, is there something to teams learning how to win? And he's like, without a doubt, there's something to it. And then he says, like, we haven't talked about last year. This isn't last year's football team. We've improved, but like there is something to learning how to win, which you hear that from every coach. Like at some point, teams have to figure it out. And I think it comes with like the expectations. Like, and we've seen this team has improved, but they don't know how to close a tight game, really.
Right.
Yes, they won the Arizona State game, but that was just a crazy play at the end. It's not like they had the, it's not like these last couple games that we've seen.
Yeah, for sure. And he did actually talk about the Ferrari missed field goal. And that was something that we talked about on yesterday's podcast where we thought it looked good. And he said he was told it was not reviewable, but he was told it went right over the upright. And then he said, as I've watched the tape, it's pretty fair. They said not reviewable as it goes right over the top of the upright. What I got told was no good. So it kind of sounds like they admitted they missed the call, but it's then not reviewable. So that's even more frustrated.
Yeah, because I thought it was, if it goes over the pole, it's good.
That's what they say.
And if all scoring plays are automatically reviewed, that's a scoring play. Why is it not reviewable? Maybe it has to do with like the angle. The angle we see might be a broadcast angle of like that top down or right on or something where you can see. So maybe they don't have a clear angle of that. So they're not going to review it and get a, like a 45-degree angle or something that makes it look good. So that's something that college football needs to look at. If that's your reasoning, have a camera that you can use to review field goals, because you flat out have refs just being like, no, it went over, but we can't review it to give you the points you actually got.
Yeah, I am honestly sick of the replay in college, really all sports, but college football too, because either review everything or don't review anything. Like I am so sick of what you can review and what you can't review. It's the stupidest thing. Like if you want to say, hey, we need to have replay because it makes the game better, because there's so many times that we've seen game-winning shots that didn't count before replay and it was clear that he got off time. Like I'm good with that, and I think replay should be a thing.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to do replay because you want to make sure the calls are right, why aren't you allowed to review everything? And I understand also it's going to take longer, but that's just football. If you decide to go that route with replay, that's the risk you're going to take. The SEC is like $1 billion conference, and you're telling me you can't get cameras under the goalpost to see if a field goal is good. First off, typically the TV camera has it underneath the goalpost, so you can kind of see it. But it's just ridiculous, the replay system, and that, oh no, you can't review that, and oh, you can review this. I remember watching, and again, it's all sports. I remember watching an NBA game a couple years ago, and the guy drove baseline, stepped out of bounds, but hit the game-winning layup, and they were like, yeah, he stepped out, but we can't review it. It's not a reviewable play. Well, he just hit a game-winning layup because you can't review that. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, the only things that make sense to not review to me are penalties. Like we saw the nightmare that was the 1 year the NFL allowed people to review pass interference, and all we learned was in slow motion everything is pass interference.
Right.
So I think penalties, and then I get the forward progress stuff because the whistle is not on those cameras. You can't time up when that happens, so I understand that one. But besides that, it should all be reviewable. It's insane that it's not. Like, how have you not figured out how to review a field goal by now? And if you know how to do it, how is that not a rule?
Why don't you add an extra review, and you get to challenge one penalty a game on top of your other challenges, just one. So you want to use it on a pass interference, you want to use it on a hold, you get to challenge one.
Not bad.
But, yeah, it can be disastrous for sure. It's just, I just hate that these games, and again, the game wasn't lost with that field goal. You could say, technically, because it's a field goal and you'd be up one. I understand that, but they lost the game because they shot themselves in the foot so many times. Like they lost the game because they lost the game.
Yeah, they lost the game because Shapen missed so many wide open throws and then threw the pick at the end. The game was lost many, many times.
Yes. Yeah. The game was lost just because of overall how bad the offense played, and also, how bad Shapen played the final drive, which Lebby did talk about that, and he made a good point. He said, hey, we had missed a field goal, 41-yarder, going the same direction on the exact same hash. Like, we just wanted to get the ball closer. And I get that. And for those that say, well, just run it, they were bringing an all-out blitz. I don't know if you actually gain any yards on that kind of run play. I don't mind the call of throwing it. I mind the route they ran and then the throw. Like, you're a veteran quarterback. You throw the ball away. You had one guy going on a go, at least it looked like on the TV copy, throw it out of bounds his
Throw
way.
it up,
Like, just
yeah.
throw it out of bounds. Like, so I think they lost because they made mistakes, but obviously, yeah,
Mhm.
that's not what you want to hear about a field goal
Yeah.
after the game's over. But all right, Blake Shapen had some things to say about his critics. We'll talk about that coming up next.
Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch, an all in one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy to use interface on your laptop or your phone. And it's really easy to organize all your accounts with Monarch, and you really track your spending, which when everything is a subscription now, all your streaming services, your food deliveries, all of that, you see how quickly money starts stacking up when you start using Monarch. And it makes it a lot easier to review everything and, just kind of figure out where you can make better financial decisions and, start saving more money. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets across the app. And I love how many different ways you can play with FanDuel, like parlays, player props. My personal favorite is the live lines during the games. And using those live lines when you see someone getting hot, putting a little money on there, it makes watching football even more exciting when you've got that little something riding on the action. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so Blake Shapen has heard the noise. He posted on his Instagram story a picture of him, looks like coming out for warm-ups, I would assume.
Yeah.
And it says, keep that same, you can guess the word, then energy. What's your thoughts on his response?
My first thought when I saw this was, who's supposed to keep the energy? Like, are you talking about you? Like, are you saying to yourself that you need to keep the energy? Or are you calling out all the people who are saying you've been playing bad lately?
Yeah.
Because you can check our comments. People have been keeping that energy for a while now, man. Like, this is not a new thing. People have been doubting you for a while. But, you kind of, at some level, you appreciate the defiance. Like, you have to have that level of self-belief to make it to the point he has. As whether or not you think he should be the starting quarterback, to make it to be a Division I SEC starting quarterback for half a season like he has, and have won a conference championship in the Big 12, all of that. That requires a level of self-belief and using, outside noise as motivation. So I get what he's doing, and I don't know. It's just, I get it, but it's also a little weird.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I love my quarterback to kind of have that chip on his shoulder, kind of moxie, like prove all the doubters wrong. But it's great when it's winning. It's not great when you're not playing well, and when you're the reason you're not playing well.
And it would also be different if this was like a one-time thing.
Right, or if the team was struggling, but he's playing well, and but everyone's out on the team, like the team's not good enough, and he's like, hey, keep that same energy because we're going to be rising back up. Like, that's fine, but he's basically talking to Mississippi State fans. As soon as you start fighting with your own fan base, it's over. You're done. Like, you're not going to play well. They're not going to like you because now they're going to be upset that you're trying to fight with them. So now you're going to start getting booed at home when you start playing bad, and the ship is just going to go downhill. And now you put your coach in a tough spot because now he has to probably play the younger guy because of how bad you're playing, but also because of the fan reaction. So it's never good to do this. And my thing is, again, you're the reason they lost to Florida. Yeah. Like, I know the offense did some stuff, and there's other people that made mistakes as well. The play calling wasn't great, but you're the reason they lost. Okay, you played terrible in that game. And I know the numbers look good, but you missed 4 touchdown passes in a game you lost by 2 points. You, not the fans, not the defense, not Jeff Lebby, you did. So, if you want to use that as motivation, because I know I love the people that make up motivation, the Michael Jordan stories all the time that you would hear, he took that personal, like that kind of stuff. I'm cool. If you want to use that for motivation and he comes out and has a big game against Texas and they win, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why this criticism is happening is because there's been 3 straight games you guys have lost, and you've played bad in all 3 of them. That's not on anyone else.
And he's also backed himself into a corner with this statement, because now what he's done is like taking away, the missed throws. You look at his stat line over the course of this season, it's not a bad line. Like he is not playing terrible. Yes, we all know he's holding the ball too long, taking too many sacks, too many incompletions, a couple of picks that should not have happened. But whole body of work has not been bad.
Right.
He has now put himself to where he can't have another game that was pretty good. He now has to play lights out the rest of this season, or the fan base is done with him. He's done it when one of the best defenses in college football is coming to town this Saturday.
Right.
Like, if he does not go out there and throw for like 350 and 3 touchdowns with no picks, people are going to keep that same energy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, you want them to keep that same energy. They're going to keep it. And the thing is, we were your big supporter after the Arizona State game, because there were still people after that game that said you should be benched.
Mm-hmm.
So there's people that have kept that same energy since the second game of the year.
It's an opening kickoff, man.
Right. I mean, again, you mentioned his number, 67% completion percentage, 1,525 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks. Overall, not terrible numbers. The 9 touchdowns, the 5 interceptions, not good.
Not great.
For the season.
He's also had a lot of guys get tackled on the one that they then punched in, like on the next play. So touchdowns could be a little bit higher, but yes, it's not bad.
And the worst part is, in the last 3 games, 0-3, 67% completion, 641 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. So he's got more picks than touchdowns. Mm-hmm. He's also barely averaging 200 yards passing in those 3 games. And that's because he had 324 against Florida, because he had 142 against A&M and 175 against Tennessee. He also has, 29 carries for negative 51 yards during that time. And again, I know some of that is sacks and things like that.
But how long he's holding on to the ball right there.
Right. I mean, he's not playing well. And so when you're not playing well and you're the quarterback, you're getting criticized. Just how it is. That's how the game has always been played. So, if you want them to stop criticizing you, go out and play well. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. You have to start executing. You hit those 4 open throws, no one's coming after your job. But, now, I mean, it was to the point that, you go look at Lebby's press conference where people are asking him, can Kamario Taylor throw the ball? Like, are you giving him actual throwing reads when you put him in the game? So this is coming from everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions, especially if you lose another one and you play bad again. And Texas, again, is really good defense, as you mentioned. Like, they're going to be calling for your job even more if you come out and play bad. So if you want to silence them, play well. That's all you got to do. All right. Coming up next, we will recap the weekend's games, including our upsets of picks. Did I get my 4th one in a row? We'll talk about it. Well, college football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. The easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. Talked about that. That's my favorite thing about Game Time. I know where I'm going to sit before I buy the tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day. Part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, getting to some of the national games. Landon, what was your upset and did you get it?
I did. Arizona State over Tech.
That's a good one.
That was in. I felt real good about that for about 3 quarters, and then Tech took the lead, and I was like, well, I came close, but Arizona State kind of bailed me out there at the end, and that was a wild game.
Well, going into that game, it looked like Levitt wouldn't play, and then when the game actually got here, Levitt played, but Morton didn't play.
Weird game.
It was weird, and Tech made a great rally, but Arizona State held them off.
And now they can't throw tortillas.
Yeah, and now they can't throw tortillas. Crazy tradition is over. I did not get mine. I felt good about LSU over Vanderbilt, 31-24. Props to Vanderbilt. I can't bet against them, I don't think, again this season because they are proving people wrong left and right. Brian Kelly probably on the hot seat because while he's not been terrible there, they finally went all in on the transfer portal this offseason. Depending on where you look, they have the number 1 transfer portal class. And you returned all those weapons offensively. I mean, this was the year. Like, you can't make the excuse that the defense isn't good because it's elite.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense, for whatever reason, is terrible. And given the talent that it has. So I missed that one. And my other one, I wouldn't have missed either. Because I was going back and forth between 2, but went with LSU. I was thinking Washington had a chance to upset Michigan, but Michigan dominated 24-7. Jamal Williams has been really good this year, threw 3 picks in that game, though. He really struggled. But, yeah, I mean, was there any other games that stood out? I mean, Tennessee and Alabama was a fun one. We were really high on Tennessee early in the year. They got dominated. Alabama won 37-20, and it really wasn't much of a game.
Good. Ty Simpson is good.
I think very good.
He might be the best quarterback in college football.
Well, and he might be the first quarterback taken.
Yeah.
Although I saw McShay he's still going with Dante Moore and Lenore Sellers as the top 2 quarterbacks taken. But I think Simpson's got to be in that conversation. Yeah.
The other game, and it's one we both talked about possibly picking as our upset. Louisville and Miami.
Yeah.
That weirdness happened.
Weird Friday. Yep. Yeah, and there was 2 upsets that day because Minnesota stomped Nebraska. And Nebraska, man, you have it set up easy schedule this year. You're only really playing 2 tough teams. Go 10-2, but one of those tough teams wasn't Minnesota. You can't lose to Minnesota. So now you're gonna have to make that up. I think they play USC as the other one. So now you're gonna have to make that up by beating USC. Ole Miss and Georgia, man, that was a fun, weird game.
That was a fun.
Ole Miss scores on their first 7 possessions or 5 possessions. Sorry, first 5 possessions. And don't score again. And Georgia was able to keep up with them every time they scored and then was able to, kind of put it away. I was telling someone this weekend, I don't recognize this Georgia defense. And I didn't recognize it last year either. I went and looked it up. Under Kirby Smart, they had never had below top 25 defense. They've never had that. They've had it the last 2 years. The last 2 years they've had it. It's just not the same defense you're seeing out there. It's still good defense. It's just not an elite defense. It can be had, and now the question is what offense shows up. The one that shows up against Ole Miss, which Ole Miss's defense is really bad too. But if that offense shows up, I mean, they can beat anyone too.
Yeah, Gunnar Stockton looked good. You and me both are kind of unsure what to make of him. This was, the best version of him. This is what you hope for with him if you're a Georgia fan. But he looked good. In the other game, it's one I always enjoy watching, the Holy War, Utah and BYU.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It's always a good game, and I love that they always go, no one wears white. It's red and blue. They both wear their colors, and no one's wearing white. It just looks cool on the screen, and it's always a fun game. And there's some real hate between those 2 fan bases. That's one that, I think it's an underrated, battle outside of Utah.
Yeah, no, that's always a fun one. And it could be the last time this great rivalry's played for at least a long time, USC and Notre Dame. Because last I saw, they have not agreed to a contract out after this year. Notre Dame won at home 34-24. Some very questionable play calling in that game by Lincoln Riley. They had a 1st and 10. They try a wide receiver reverse pass, and he fumbles it at the 50, and Notre Dame gets it, and it's when USC was driving. Just a lot of weird stuff happened in that game. Lincoln Riley, I saw, is 0-6 on the road against top 25 teams since taking over at USC. That was something he was really good at Oklahoma, and he just has not had success. I believe at one time in Oklahoma, he won like 18 straight road games or something like that.
Crazy run.
But yeah, so they're gonna have to regroup. Every time they've been ranked twice this year, USC. Every time people start to believe, all right, they're ranked. This is a different USC team. They lose to Illinois. All right, they bounce back. They're ranked, and they lose to Notre Dame. And they got Nebraska as their next game on the road. And they end the year. UCLA is their last game, like always, which UCLA might be top 25 at that point, the way they're playing. But they do play Oregon the week before that on the road. So their playoff chances are hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, if they ever had them.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being Locked On Mississippi State. Your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On SEC. Chris Gordy breaks down the best conference in college sports, from the rivalries to the championship and every game in between. Find Locked On SEC on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. All right, I'm Jaron. Check out my work over at Athlon Sports. That's Landon. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We post daily videos Monday through Friday, so check those out. And until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.